Tivaomberere maoko mauto achibuda munhandare.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now indeed a pleasure and my singular honor to invite our guest of honor, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi, to officially open the 112th Zimbabwe Agricultural Show and present prizes to our befitting winners. Your Excellency said.
Your Excellency, I'm deeply honored and privileged to be here with you today on this important and prestigious event marking the Zimbabwe Annual Agricultural Show, the 112th, I am advised. I'm very grateful to you, my dear brother, that you found it fitting to extend an invitation to me to officiate at this momentous occasion. It could not have been a better time for Botswana to participate in the agricultural show of Zimbabwe than this year, for a number of reasons. First and foremost, exactly 6 months and 8 days ago in Victoria Falls, here in the Republic of Zimbabwe, our two countries solidified and formalized collaboration in the area of agriculture by signing a memorandum of understanding in the field of agriculture development and food security. That notwithstanding, Botswana and Zimbabwe have long-standing bonds of friendship and collaboration dating back to time immemorial. Since the establishment of our diplomatic relations following the attainment of independence by Zimbabwe in 1980, we have seen our cooperation at bilateral, at regional, continental, and indeed at the international levels grow in leaps and bounds in a multitude of areas. In the agriculture space, we have over the years tended to concentrate our efforts on addressing crop and animal diseases and pests. This was necessitated not only by our long common border between our two countries, but also by the increasing threat of transboundary animal and crop diseases and pests, particularly foot and mouth, quelea birds, and locust infestation, which prompted the need to undertake joint interventions to address these challenges. Our two countries have also had to collaborate in addressing emerging threats like the goat plague, which, if not controlled, had the potential to cripple our agricultural industries, hamper the national development agenda, condemn our people to cyclical poverty by reversing developmental gains that we continue to safely guard today. Another reason it is important for me and my entourage to be here today is the fact that the agricultural sectors of our countries are intertwined. The communities along our common border sharing not only familial ties, but ways and means of livelihoods, such as livestock rearing, amongst others. The contribution of the agricultural sector to our two countries to the gross domestic product have differed significantly. For instance, in Botswana, the agricultural sector accounts for only 1.6% of the GDP, while in Zimbabwe, the sector's contribution has ranged between 15 to 19% of GDP. As such, I found it imperative that I avail myself to be part of this event so as to facilitate exchange of views and experience in the agricultural space, for the mutual benefit of our two countries and people. I have no doubt that we can leverage on each other's strengths in areas that we enjoy a comparative and competitive advantage in that cultural space, with a view to further deepening collaborative efforts in this area. One such dominant niche area is the production of a number of livestock vaccines, which my country is already undertaking for a number of vaccines and supplying Zimbabwe and indeed the region and beyond. In this regard, our two countries can leverage on each other's strengths for the production of high-quality vaccines for foot and mouth disease, goat plague, and the lung disease in Botswana, as well as Zimbabwe's prowess in the production of thermostable Newcastle vaccine and other quality veterinary medical products. It is also commendable that Zimbabwe also produces high-quality veterinary surgeons and specialists, some of whom we have the rare privilege of having in our national institutions, such as the Ministry of Agriculture's Veterinary Department and the Botswana Medicines Regulatory Authority. We continue to have a strong vote of confidence in the services that we receive from the experts who have been trained in your country, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, allow me to salute you for your personal involvement and heightened level of interest in the one thorny issue, namely livestock rustling along our common border, which threatened the social harmony between communities that reside in that area. As discussed and agreed during our previous engagements, particularly in the recently held Bi-National Commission, the issue presents not only a huge risk for transmission of animal diseases, but it is also a serious threat to food and social security. It also is a threat to the existence of the rule of law. I am grateful that our two nations are collaborating to combat such undesirable acts across our borders, as well as facilitate the repatriation of recovered livestock. I also note, Your Excellency, with deep admiration, that the Republic of Zimbabwe has great potential and strength in crop production, for which I recall made Zimbabwe the breadbasket of this region. In fact, it is worth noting that in 2021, on one hand, Botswana experienced a generally moderate drought which negatively affected the performance of the sector, especially the crop subsector. This resulted in the declaration that 2021-22 was a moderate drought year. On the other hand, it is pleasing to note that the Republic of Zimbabwe in the year 2021 was a bumper year, they saw, with surplus production for cereals. I am pleased to note that the Botswana Agricultural Marketing Board and the Zimbabwe Grain Marketing Board have recently engaged and are in discussions for cooperating in the management of strategic grain reserves and the possibility of Botswana importing, yes, grains from Zimbabwe. Your Excellency, I have been reliably informed that this year's event has attracted exhibitors from different countries and within Zimbabwe, from rural and urban centers across different sections of commerce and industry, in addition to agriculture. Unfortunately, due to the ongoing promotional events in Botswana that coincide with this event, our entities from the private sector could not join us for this visit. However, we have representatives from the Botswana Investment and Trade Center, whose mandate covers investment promotion and business facilitation. Moving forward as proposed, during our official talks, we are happy to see Zimbabwean companies taking part in the Global Expo Botswana 2022, which takes place in November, as well as other events such as the Consumer and Annual Agricultural Show, the Hansi Agricultural Show, to mention but a few. Reciprocally, our companies will continue participating in the annual Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, as well as other promotional events, with a view to further exploring and capitalizing on opportunities for increased trade and investment between our two countries. Your Excellency, coming back to today's event, I'd like to take this opportunity to urge all participants to utilize this rare opportunity to build long-lasting business networks and to fully utilize identified trade and investment opportunities. Exhibitors should also use this event to interrogating the different information communication technologies that are being showcased during this agricultural show. You will agree with me that it is high time that operations and interactions at all levels of the production chain are digitized. I know that when the fourth industrial revolution gathered steam, some of our people used to say that our country was still at the second industrial revolution. To this sentiment, I want to say, whether we are in the second or still in the first industrial revolution, the fact remains that leaping to the fourth industrial revolution is not an option, but an absolute imperative. For agriculture especially, in our countries where we face immense challenges of infrastructure development, effects of climate change, the use of ICT can go a long way in facilitating extension offices to service even those afar in remote areas at less cost and high level of efficiency and effectiveness. The importance of digitizing agriculture and improving general productivity capacity cannot be overemphasized. The advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, coupled with the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, have exposed weaknesses and gaps in our production and supply chains, particularly on the African continent. The introduction of social distancing, the travel bans at the peak of the pandemic only exacerbated the situation, severely hindering the production and delivery of agricultural goods and services, and overall disruption of food security and nutrition. In line with the food systems approach pioneered by the United Nations in 2021, we need to be mindful of our actions, particularly effects on the environment, which has a direct correlation to food production. Your Excellency, as we forge ahead in adopting mitigation measures and strategies, we have to be forever mindful to adopt climate-resilient technologies for both crops and livestock in this digital era. As we develop our agri-value chains in efforts to improve competitiveness of the agricultural sectors of our countries vis-à-vis competitors, we need to appreciate the trade-offs resulting from these actions. To conclude, Your Excellency, I wish to re-emphasize the importance of the agricultural sector as it relates to the livelihoods of our people and overall food security, as well as appreciate the cordial engagements that characterize interactions between our people at all levels. Let me once again thank you, Your Excellency, and my very dear bosom brother, for having invited me to this auspicious event. With these few remarks, I now declare officially the 2022 Zimbabwe Annual Agricultural Show officially open. I thank you for your attention.